Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's episode 50. We made it the big 50, just like I made 50 yesterday. Big old 50 to late night with the gringo. I'm your gringo. I'm your reluctant gringo, and here is my reluctant son.
Well, I wouldn't say reluctant,
Well,
but yeah, at
sometimes.
times, yeah, sometimes, yeah.
At times I can be a jerk. But anyways, so welcome back, and we've got lots to cover. We've got some Elon news, some Trump news, some Iran news, because, well, they can't help themselves. We've got some owl news, believe it or not. Would you like to kill a bunch of owls in California
No.
for $1.5 billion?
Okay, well, hold on.
Well, that's how much the plan is going to cost. Apparently, the Trump administration, there's a bunch of people. We're going to get to it. We'll get to the owls. I'll save the owls. I don't want to get too much into it. We got some Ukraine news. If it's news, I think it's news. It should be news, but nothing's official. But yeah, but other than that, how you doing? It's a happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you.
I'm doing good. Working on things.
Nice.
So, bit of a busy day, long day. You know how editing is.
Yeah.
Editing is a very tedious process. At first, you feel great because you make huge cuts on things, but then after, you start going for those smaller cuts to really crunch down on the time. Man, it kills you.
Gets tedious.
Yeah, it gets real tedious.
YouTube can be a grind sometimes, but I learned Instagram today. That was fun. I mean, I knew it, but I got to know, like, there's so many intricacies to Instagram, so I learned that. So I opened up a couple of Instagram things, one for this channel and one for my other channel, which I don't mention here because it has nothing to do with politics. So I don't really mention it here. But yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Ukraine, I guess there's some news, there's some developments. Let's transition on out of here. Let's get right into here and boom, boom, boom. All right.
The world's been busy today.
World's been busy. Saudi Arabia, is this the place to be? You know what's amazing to me? Saudi Arabia is becoming sort of like the new player in town, right? Like, we can help you with this. We can help you with these peace deals. You know, they helped with a lot of peace deals with the United States and Trump between a lot of countries in Israel when Trump was first in office. And now they're trying to be the mediators of this, and also with some of the Gaza palette. They're really trying to just reshape their image because, well, let's face it, most people just know Saudi Arabia as rich oil. It's where a lot of the 9/11 terrorists came from, and they like to chop up the reporters that say bad things about the king. So they're trying to rehab their image, and so far, so good.
I think it's also a fact that they are conveniently placed right in right in the right region. It's a neutral territory. They're pretty neutral when it comes to foreign relations because they have so many dealings when it comes to their oil industry, and even now their tech industry is starting to boom if I'm not mistaken. And then they're in such a crucial region of the world, right? I think it allows them to really benefit, really just kind of from the position.
Plus, they got that oil money.
Yeah, oil money.
Let's face it. I mean, they got that oil money. I mean,
we tolerate a lot for oil.
We tolerate a lot for oil money. Definitely. So there's Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, which, just side note, for some reason, I guess we get to play the game that, Trump's got most of his, if not all of his cabinet secretaries in place. It's like, who's going to be the first to go? I think it's going to be Rubio. I think he's just going to get burned out and be like, son of, I can't deal with all this. For some reason, he's just looking rough lately. You saw him at that speech. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks.
Gringo, I mean, you're right. I can't lie. You are correct.
I gotta clean my glasses. Better go ahead.
Have you looked at his past week prior to that? The fallout of the Ukraine mineral deal?
Well, he knew what he was getting into.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he expected it to fall apart like that.
Yeah, but it's back now. We're going to talk about that.
I know.
But guy needs some sleep. I actually feel bad for him. I'm like, God damn. Guy is he looks like death warmed over half the time. And, plus his boss is a little bit of a lunatic. We all love him, don't get me wrong. But he's a lunatic. I've worked for lunatic bosses before that just change their mind left and right. And he's like, all right, what are we doing today? So foreign policy, gunslinger style. But yeah, here we go. The Trump administration said it would immediately lift a pause on intelligence sharing and military support to Ukraine following high-level talks with U.S. officials that led Kiev to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. Okay, that does not mean there's a ceasefire. So if you're going to look up, hey, the Ukraine war is no, that does not mean there's a ceasefire. The United States has brokered a ceasefire, 30 days, which was originally only air and sea, had nothing to do with the on-the-ground fighting, and which was weird. And then they kind of had to say afterwards, no, we really mean all of it on the ground too. So there's, the United States has broken it. Kiev, Ukraine, they've agreed to it, but the Russians haven't agreed to it because no one's actually, they weren't talking to the Russians at the time. So now they have to go to the Russians and say, hey, we got this ceasefire deal right now for 30 days. What do you think? Meanwhile, today, a drone or a missile struck somewhere near Moscow, killed like 5 people. You'll get what this means for the Ukraine war. Is it going to come to an end? Is it going to at least be a ceasefire? I don't know. I would figure if you're going to say, hey, I want a ceasefire, you don't bomb those people today. So if you're going to say this morning, hey, I really would like a 30-day ceasefire, 2 hours later, you don't let the drones or the missiles go into the other guy's territory, right? I just think that's, mixed signals personally. But, but again, it was only supposed to be air and sea. He added, we will take this offer now to the Russians, and we hope that they'll say yes, and that they'll say yes to peace. The ball is now in their court. Great, just the place we wanted it to go to. We want to get this war over with, all this. But yeah, it was weird. Just a peace is key for us. We want lasting peace, is what Zelensky's top advisor said. Zelensky said in a video address he thanked Trump for the constructive nature of the dialogue. And apparently, he sent a letter to Trump apologizing for what happened in the Oval Office. So, looks like Zelensky's back in the game again. So,
I mean, did they really have a choice?
He didn't have a choice, but what do you,
yeah, back in the game.
But do you know what I mean?
Figured.
But do you know what I mean? It's you say yes to a peace deal for 30 days and the same day you're bombing people?
You have to remember, though, for the past week or so, since they've lost their kind of U.S. intelligence and that aid, they've been suffering a lot of, I believe it's not only just missile strikes, but also drone strikes themselves that have, I think, killed quite, I'm not sure, but I think the last I saw was 120 individuals, I think, were or civilians were either injured or killed.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised they launched one today. It's probably just a reactionary response of, hey, listen, you threw drones at us. We'll throw drones at you into your capital, right? Moscow, right? It is Moscow, if I'm not mistaken, earlier today, right?
Yep. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Hours before the Jeddah meeting, Ukraine launched the largest drone attack of the war, targeting the Russian capital and other regions. Moscow authorities said the strikes killed at least 3 people and injured 18. So continue. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that right for you.
No, thank you. I actually need that. Again, if you're Russia, you probably expected something like this to come back your way. And I'm sure they do want a ceasefire, but I think they didn't want to look weak, not only to their people, but also to themselves. They're like, listen, we're going to allow ourselves to get bombed here and make it look like we're begging for a ceasefire. We got to do something to show that we're willing to still fight, but we do want peace. And I think that was the way of doing it. We'll throw a drone strike at Moscow. It's more symbolic than actual anything, because there's no real target that you can really hit there that you're going to actually hit. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to hit the Kremlin.
They tried, but they're not going to hit it.
They tried once. That was like beginning of the war?
Yeah.
But in this time period, this is just your way of saying we're still here to fight, but can we maybe work something out? So,
well, and again, here's the weird thing. Here's what Ukraine. I just don't know what to think of Ukraine at this point. And I'm not an anti-Ukraine guy. I'm certainly not a pro Vladimir Putin guy. That's for sure. I'm not.
You're not pro-Russian.
I'm not
pro-Ruski.
No. This guy's he's messed up in the head. But here's the thing. Ukraine had proposed a partial ceasefire that would have halted long-range air and drone strikes and military attacks in the Black Sea. That was it. It was the U.S. to get in and say, yeah, we're going to do missiles, drones, bombs, not only in the Black Sea, but also along the entire front line. So it's sort of like, it was like half peace. They were like, yeah, you know what? We're going to stop doing this. It's probably because they were running out of ammunition because we stopped giving it to them for a little bit, right? But they weren't going to be like, we'll talk about peace for the entire war. So I don't know what to think of Ukraine. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if there's a really. I mean, yes, okay. Let me preface this. I think you and I can agree. Ukraine was invaded. They didn't do anything to cause invasion, right? I mean, yeah, they wanted to get into NATO, and Russia said no, we can't allow that, and so we kind of saw it coming. But again, Ukraine, they were invaded, plain and simple. So there's a right and there's a wrong in that case. But at some point in time now, it's sort of like with the fog of war, you're like, all right, does anybody want to end this, or are we just trying to get as much out of it as we can, or what kind of peace are we looking at here? And I just don't know what it is.
No, I agree with you on that. It does as wars go on. It's hard to kind of figure out what's the end goal because initially you're obviously 100% on Ukraine's side. And I'm not saying I'm not on Ukraine's side. Still, I absolutely am. But you look at some of these actions, you're like, well, this doesn't really seem beneficial towards a peace plan, right?
Yeah.
As we mentioned, the drone strikes. I still think I understand the rationale behind them. I believe they tried to broker the sea and air because they don't really have anything in the sea or the air. So they're trying to force the war to kind of become more of a kind of I say trench style, men on men, wave versus wave, which is like the only way they can win because they don't really have the capabilities to fight an air war or a naval war. I mean, they've sunk a few Russian ships in the Black Sea. That's great. Then again, Russia's not really known for its navy, so there's that. So I think they were looking to be a little opportunistic with that. Maybe they'd be able to kind of narrow down the war, and then probably maybe retake some land. But I think ultimately the U.S. told them, listen, that's not a great idea. You still don't even have our support fully anymore right now. Let's get to the table and see if we can hammer something out.
And I hope they can because there are. I mean, Trump, like him, don't like him. When he says people are dying every day, they are on both sides, and it's got to stop. So, furthermore, the statement also said the two countries had agreed to conclude as soon as possible a comprehensive agreement for developing Ukraine's critical mineral resources to expand Ukraine's economy and guarantee Ukraine's long-term prosperity and security. So the mineral deal is going to get done hopefully soon. That's good for us. Absent from the statement is the type of security guarantees Ukrainians say is necessary. Look, Russia won't allow peacekeepers in there, so we can't do that. What are we going to say? We're going to be like, hey, Ukraine, if you say yes to peace, we'll be here to back you up if something goes wrong. I don't want to do that.
We already did that in the 90s. After the Cold War, when we had the nuclear situation, remember?
Yeah, but I think it's a new. Yeah, I remember that.
We made that deal, but we didn't even keep to that deal. So that's not really where.
I don't want to do that.
They want something more than that.
Well, the Trump administration has ruled out allowing Ukraine into NATO, viewing that as placing new burdens on the United States and obviating a path to peace with Moscow. All right. So I don't know what kind of security guarantee. Give them back the nukes. I don't know. Ukraine gave up the nukes. Give them back. I don't know.
Yeah, give them a nuclear weapon.
So the agreement Tuesday was immediately praised by U.S. allies in Europe, including the leaders of the European Commission and European Council. Look, they just want this to end as well. They're tired of this. But again, this just, here we go. Russia's defense ministry claimed to have shot down 337 Ukrainian drones over Russian regions overnight. Largest drone attack in the city during the war, the Moscow mayor said. So, the attack came after intensive missile and drone strikes that killed 20 Ukrainians. And so it's just back and forth. Again, I don't know exactly who wants what at this point, how sincere or genuine some of these agreements are, or if it's just sort of, we'll say yes to this so we can get some more intelligence and military support out of the U.S. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I think Zelensky is playing both sides. I think he's talking out of both sides of his mouth because he doesn't know what to do. Let's face it. You got Putin on one side of you, who's obviously knows what he's doing. You got Trump on the other. And you're just there as a president who took over for your country, and in about 3 months in, you got invaded by Russia.
Right.
He doesn't have the experience as a politician to deal with this kind of crap. But, I think he's probably doing the best he can. We'll see. But yeah, that's Ukraine in a nutshell right now. So hopefully by tomorrow we get word from Russia. What do they think? Do they want to go about and do this?
I mean, you were right about the U.S. The military aid because U.S. did resume military aid and intelligence sharing. At least during this 30-day period, it looks like.
Yeah.
So that is good for them. And that might be why they came to the table to try to get that back and say, hey, listen, we'll play ball.
Yeah. So. Tough spot to be in. Yep. Meanwhile, in Iran.
What are these guys doing now?
Well,
we talked about them briefly yesterday.
All right, so this jackoff here. This is the president of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian, or Peskian. I call him douchebag. I'll call him that. That's what I call him. Said Iran would not negotiate with the U.S. while being threatened. While being threatened.
When did we threaten them?
Telling President Donald Trump, quote, this is what he told Donald Trump, quote, do whatever the hell you want. Okay.
Okay. When do politicians of or foreign heads of states, when are they going to learn that telling the Trump administration do whatever you want or that it's their problem and that they have to solve it is a terrible idea for you?
Yeah.
It just does not have a good track record for people. Gringo, am I wrong?
You're not wrong. So the Islamic Republic of Iran, quote, it is unacceptable for the U.S. for us. Oh, excuse me. It is unacceptable for us that the U.S. gives orders and makes threats. All right. Well, it's unacceptable that you're supporting terrorism and insurgency around the entire region of the Middle East right now, causing thousands of deaths. But we'll talk about it. He goes, I won't even negotiate with you. Do whatever the hell you want. State media quoted Pezeshkian as saying, Iran's supreme leader, anyone who calls you, I'm the supreme leader. Okay. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Khamenei. Call him Ali. Hey, Ali. Said on Saturday that Tehran would not be bullied into negotiations the day after Trump said he had sent a letter urging Iran to engage in talks on a new nuclear deal. While expressing openness to a deal with Tehran, Trump has reinstated the maximum pressure campaign he applied in his first term as president to isolate Iran from the global economy and drive its oil exports down towards zero. So he's doing what he did the first time, which worked. He said there are two ways Iran can be handled, militarily or you make a deal. Okay, to prevent Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons. Listen, folks, I don't care. You can say whatever. Oh, the U.S. can't say this because they're the only ones who use nuclear weapons. Yeah, we used nuclear weapons to stop World War II. And we didn't want to send hundreds of thousands of our own people to go fight and die in the nation of Japan. So
yeah, they were not going to surrender that very easily or forthcoming.
Yeah, you know what I call that now? I call that the first fuck around and find out moment from the U.S.
Second, actually, two.
Well, yeah,
we dropped two.
We dropped two. So there were two fuck around and find out moments. So don't give me the bullshit that, oh, you don't have any moral authority. Yeah, we do. All right. Iran has long, because we wouldn't have built nuclear weapons, nor would we have dropped them, if the goose steppers in Europe and the emperor's lackeys in Japan didn't start shit. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. So we look at it. All right. In an interview with Fox, Iran has long denied wanting to develop a nuclear weapon, which is absolute bullshit. Every international agency, even the ones I don't trust, like the IAEA and the United Nations, have come out and said, hey, they're building a nuclear weapon. They're enriching uranium. So they have said, however, it is dramatically accelerating enrichment of uranium to up to 60% purity, close to the roughly 90% weapons grade level the IAEA has warned about. Iran has accelerated its nuclear work since 2019, a year after then President Trump ditched Tehran's 2015 nuclear pact with 6 world powers and reimposed sanctions that have crippled the country's economy. So, yeah, Iran. They're going to turn them into glass. That's what happens when sand gets superheated. It gets turned into glass. So Iran is going to be turned into a giant sheet of glass. That's what it is.
Listen, I don't want a war there. I don't want to. I mean, have you ever looked at a topography map? Of Iran?
Yeah.
It's probably one of the hardest, or not the hardest, place to invade, right? Because you only have the coast, but it's all mountain ranges. It's really, really. I mean, it's just as bad as Afghanistan, if not maybe worse to an extent. So I'm not looking for a war with them. But if you keep doing stuff like this, you're really not giving many people any option. And I don't know who their friends are. I mean, China's not really a friend.
No. Did you hear this? I didn't pull up this article. I didn't hear this. China, Russia, and Iran are going to be doing military exercises together.
All right, Russia, not what you want to be doing right now. Also, military exercises. What military? They're on the front line. You hear some trucks, please drive them.
And I don't know what Russia's got left, but yeah, they're going to be doing that together. They announced that. And Trump's response was like, whatever. We're 10 times more. This is literally his answer. They asked him, so, Mr. President, does it concern you that China, Russia, and Iran are doing military exercises together? And he goes, no, our military is 10 times more powerful than the three of them put together. And I'm just like, someone's looking for a fight. That's all I know.
Listen, this is the one guy who will actually, because most presidents will kind of threaten a war or violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. But you're not always 100% sure, but you're pretty close to okay, yes, it's strong rhetoric, because they want to establish a deal between us. But usually they won't go to war. With Trump, it's a little different. It's like, this guy might actually push the button.
Yeah, he will.
He will. He's done stuff.
He don't care.
Yeah, he will. He will do that.
He don't care. I don't want him to do it, but he don't care. So, anyways, speaking of Trump, he did this today. I didn't quite understand it. I had to read this thing like 10 times over today to understand it. Ensuring the enforcement of federal rule of civil procedure 65C. Okay? I'm going to break this down as easy as I can. All right. So, Trump is pissed off. The GOP is pissed off that there's a bunch of, I guess, independent organizations out there. So you have an organization, they care about this one issue. And so then Trump does something or the GOP does something and they file lawsuits against it and they get injunctions and they stop it from happening. Or they slow it down from happening to see if they can do anything in the meantime, right? They may not win in the end, but they're going to put up the good fight. Well, it costs a lot of money to do that. So these organizations are obviously getting money from places like George Soros and other liberal donors and other very ultra progressive billionaires who are trying to fund this stuff and millionaires trying to fund this stuff. So this executive order is to enforce Civil Procedure 65C, which means all right, let's say I'm liberal organization a-hole number one, right? And you're President Trump. And you pass a law that goes against everything that my a-hole organization number one stands for. The one issue, okay? Well, I get a bunch of money from some billionaire who says, go ahead and sue. And I go, okay, yeah. And we go and we find the right judge and we sue and he gives us an injunction. It doesn't mean we win. It just means it stops and it's going to go to another court. There's going to be a hearing. It delays things out, stresses things out. In the end, you normally lose because the government can set the rules and that's just the way it is. Very rarely do you get to fight the government and win. It doesn't happen. Well, the government was losing a lot of money. So to get them to stop doing this, they're enforcing Civil Procedure 65C, which means, as Trump would say, all right, I sue you, Trump, right? I got all my money donated. Well, what I have to do is I have to show that I have enough money to cover an equal loss. Okay, so if I sue you for $10 million, I have to show that I have $10 million for the countersuit and for everything else. I can't just come in and be like, I don't have the money, and if I lose, I have to pay all these extra fees and for all the litigation, I have to pay the government, I have to reimburse and all that stuff, which they don't have to do right now, which they haven't really been enforcing. So it's Trump's way of saying, go ahead and sue us if you dare.
Because if you don't have the money, you're going bankrupt.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's another one of those fuck around and find out kind of moments, but except for it's a little worse because you're fighting the U.S. government in court at home, essentially. It's like going into it's like walking into the Garden in Boston and being like, the crowd's not going to be rowdy.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Also, trying to do that without the money in the bank because the rules just allow you to do that is absurd to me.
Here's what it is. This is probably the best explanation in the whole executive order. This rule, which mandates that a party seeking a preliminary injunction or temporary restraining order or injunction provides security in the amount that the court considers proper to cover potential costs and damages to the enjoined or restrained party if the injunction is wrongly issued. So, let's say you're Donald Trump, you're the White House, and you say, I'm freezing the $1 billion in assets that's going to this organization across the Pacific, whatever. And I'm an organization here in the United States that loves that organization across the Pacific, and damn it, they need their $1 billion. Well, if I go get an injunction and you're forced, as Donald Trump and the GOP in the White House, to give out, say, $100 million of that $1 billion, and then you have to basically be able to say, I have $100 million in the bank to cover the cost of your loss if it goes south. That's basically what it is. So taxpayers don't end up funding everything and then losing money in the end,
Right.
which I think it's fair. Fine. It's frivolous lawsuits. I hate lawsuits. Lawsuits suck.
No, lawsuits are annoying.
Anyway, so this is today, March 11th. Though that was his. I feel like he's running out of cool executive orders. Though, like we're getting like we made March National Irish Day or National Irish Month. I'm like, that's cool for the Irish. Then we get this one, got his fact checks and all that stuff. But anyways, so back to the news. I thought that was interesting for me. Iran gonna die. All right. Oh, we're gonna save the Alice for last. Oh, here's one you would love. I pulled this up directly for you. You remember how you loved that they cut $400 million from Columbia? Well, they cut $800 million from John Hopkins,
Columbia. Oh, I thought you were saying the country Columbia. I was like, Columbia? Like,
Columbia University.
You say Columbia, I think country first. Yeah, I did love that because you know what? It's what? How many billions of dollars do they make a year?
A lot.
Do they really need 400 million?
No,
Exactly.
not of my money. No.
Not of my money. I mean, I went there. I'm paying them already. What? $250,000 for a 4-year or 2-year degree, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous. Yeah, you make enough based on the students that are there to pay.
And your own donors and everything. You have your endowments and everything.
Exactly.
So John Hopkins plans staff layoffs after $800 million in grant cuts.
Ooh.
Basically, almost $1 billion.
That is.
Sorry, John Hopkins.
What did they do to get like worse treatment than Columbia?
Well, they have some stupid stuff going on. Okay.
I mean, I know the program. They do have a program where you do a year in Bologna, Italy, and then you do a year in DC to complete. I think your masters, and I think international affairs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But that is to lose 800 million. They must have done so much worse.
Okay, so I got questions. Here's no. I don't think they did. I think they just looked at us and go, all right. Some of the programs John Hopkins helps out with is breastfeeding support efforts in Baltimore. What exactly does that mean? Do you hold the woman's breast for her as she holds the baby?
Maybe
Like, what's the support needed? It's already legal that you can breastfeed wherever you want. Like, I don't get breastfeeding support. It's like, I don't know what exactly does that entail?
maybe it's for mothers who are like maybe I don't know. Say I mean, this seems weird to me, but incapable of breastfeeding or just don't have the
That's not breastfeeding support. That's food stamps. Go get your baby formula.
right.
So,
So
again,
I'm trying to figure out what this is.
they're,
Can we figure this out before?
this
we
is
move on?
honestly, this is some liberal program where they get to pump up flyers and put up posters and do little grassroots things and be able to say this is where we spent our money to inform people. Listen, mothers don't need to be informed that they can breastfeed their children. I'm pretty sure their bodies tell them that already, and I'm pretty sure they've learned it already before.
Maybe it's a way to kind of fight the formula industry. Hold on.
Why would you want to fight the formula?
Okay, John Hopkins offers comprehensive breastfeeding. This is according to an AI overview, which I guess gathered all the sources and tried to summarize it. So
Great, I love AI.
it may be a little incorrect. It may have a few facts wrong, but we're gonna go with this right now.
I mean, some guy getting paid a bunch of money just to go
So-
over and hold the ladies.
So maybe John Hopkins offers comprehensive breastfeeding support for parents from prenatal classes and postpartum counseling to consultations with lactation consultants. What?
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 Wait. Okay, what does the prenatal support look like? Hey, lady, after the baby comes out, it's going to be hungry. You make milk. You're a mammal. In case you didn't,
Maybe
learn that in high school.
Maybe you have to certain foods and stuff.
Maybe it's the.
But again, that's the job of a doctor, no?
Yeah, they don't need a
Anyway, or like you make a pamphlet. You know what I mean?
They don't need a special support
Maybe.
person.
I mean,
oh my God.
I don't mind helping mothers who are, new mothers. That's fine. But like, I don't think we need this, right?
No.
There are better ways to do this. Lactation consultants and resources for employees. Hold on, and resources for employees, all focused on promoting successful breastfeeding journeys.
Now you got me curious.
This is an AI overview. Prenatal education. The hospital offers prenatal classes to prepare parents for breastfeeding, including a complimentary virtual class for John Hopkins employees.
Virtual. All right.
What kind of
I
class
had to look up this lactation consultant because I really want to know what this is. I feel like I could do this. Is a healthcare professional specializing in breastfeeding. How do you specialize in breastfeeding? Do you practice yourself? They provide evidence-based support and guidance to mothers and infants throughout the breastfeeding journey. What? One sucks, one makes. Drink. Okay. Assist with breastfeeding initiation and establishment. Pretty sure the hungry kid's going to figure it out on his own.
Do you think maybe it's got to do with like nutrition the mother has and the kind of quality of milk?
No, so far, maybe you'll see. Provide guidance on proper latch, positioning, and milk transfer. No, please, come on. Listen, folks. Listen. We don't need millions of dollars for this. Address breastfeeding challenges such as sore nipples, low milk supply, and metistus, I guess, which is hardening.
Oh well, that's fine. That's reasonable.
That's called a doctor.
I know, but you just
Offer
like the
support for
doctor.
pumping, storing, and returning to work while breastfeeding. Support for what? Here's the pump. Use it. Put it in the refrigerator. Support. What do you? Is there like a hotline? Hey, I'm going back to work. I can really use support. You can do it. Thanks for the support.
No, it's gotta be some sort of support for like you need to make milk, but you gotta go to work.
Nah.
You're a single mother, something like that. You get what I mean?
And I'm not making fun of mothers. I'm not making. But the mothers aren't the problem. The babies aren't the problem. The problem is the ridiculousness that you think you need someone to hand hold women through this crap. Okay, and that we're spending millions through it.
I don't think. I mean, 800 million excessive, and at least.
Well, it's not just that.
Million, but I'm sorry. But my whole thing with this, my issue is, this seems like a way for just a university to slap their name on something.
Yeah.
Because if they truly wanted to help, they just give this money to like doctors or just organizations that already kind of help with this stuff. Like I mean, Planned Parenthood to an extent.
But you know what? Like this, no? I will say this. I will say that, you know, I think you're absolutely right. But I will say this. At least they're doing it in the United States. It says in Baltimore. Cool.
Yeah, in Baltimore.
All right.
It's local. It's right where they are, Maryland.
Yeah. So. The next one is, the next thing they had is one of the things, mosquito net programs in Mozambique.
Okay.
I don't give a flying F. I don't give two little nuggets about mosquitoes in Mozambique. They can make their own nets. I'm sure they know what they're doing more than we do. I know mosquitoes spread disease. Okay, I get that. Send them a can off. I don't know what you want me to do. But a program for mosquito nets. Great.
What do you mean a program for mosquito nets? Do they just buy mosquito nets and ship them to them, or do they just?
I'm sure they milk it for, no pun intended, for all it's worth. They probably have their detailed instructions.
I mean, yeah, I know we can keep going on and making fun of it, but if they're just sending nets, I mean, that's their money. I'm not too much against that.
I don't want to send in my money for Mozambique.
No, is it our money being spent on it, or is it the university's private money?
No, this is part of the $800 million in grants.
That we're getting rid of. Oh, I thought this was just like we were canceling because of the reasons of things that they've done.
No.
I was like, well, if they're not using taxpayers' money, they're using their money to fund like sending nets. Was it Mozambique?
Yeah,
that's fine. But if they're sending taxpayer money, okay, we got some controversy there because it's taxpayer money. If you're gonna do that in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, Texas, Houston, we could use mosquito nets.
Plenty of mosquitoes in Texas. Yeah. The White House didn't respond for requests for comment from the Wall Street Journal. John Hopkins' work received scrutiny from Department of Government Efficiency leader Elon Musk on his X platform last month. Oh, there you go. You should have known it was coming. When he remarked on the closure of a transgender health clinic in India that the school helped run. That's what American tax dollars were funding, he wrote. So they were also helping with a transgender health clinic in India.
Okay. All right. The John Hopkins one, that first one with the breastfeeding support.
Yeah.
I wasn't as too upset with that because at least it's in the U.S. and, you know, it seems good-spirited. The second one, nets in Mozambique. Okay. My only problem with it is that you're using taxpayer money. Other than that, it's a nice cause, you know? This one, though? Okay. We've escalated clearly here. No, Gringo?
Yeah.
We've escalated.
Yeah.
It's back to the whole Guatemala thing. Why do we care about this?
Right.
Who cares?
Again, it's just a way. It's not your money. It's their money. Democrats and liberals think it's their money. They'll tell us we don't know better. They know better. But of course, you know, you have all the liberals in these colleges and universities and all these, you know, attorney generals in these liberal states that are going to sue the federal government because we want money, but it's not your money. You don't deserve it. You're not entitled to it. But they're going to sue. Eventually, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's going to be like, no, get out of our court.
They're going to hear the first one and be like, we've ruled already. Hammer down.
U.S. aid must be saved. U.S. aid saves lives. No, U.S. aid cuts off peepees in India.
U.S. aid, when it comes to like providing food and stuff, that's different.
U.S. aid is not what it was when it was created in the 60s. All right? It's not. It's not what Kennedy wanted. It's not what he envisioned. It's not what any of the presidents through the 60s and 70s envisioned it would be. It changed a lot during the 80s. I didn't agree with it, what it was doing in the 80s, which was promoting capitalism versus communism because Reagan was all about communist rollback. So there, it went downhill from there. But what it was supposed to be in the 60s and 70s, as far as this sort of this handout, this reach out, this let's do what we can as a global community kind of thing, has gotten out of control. But I'm sorry to cut you off there, but anyways.
No. You're right. You're right. It wasn't intended for this. It was intended to create relations between the people of a foreign state with the United States government to make us more friendly and have better relations in general. What they're doing actually subverts most cultures in place, and if not, actually probably goes around the governments that are in power there. I mean, it's not what it's supposed to be doing.
Well, I love how the Wall Street Journal is actually, this article is kind of shilling for John Hopkins. They actually come out and say, John Hopkins was founded in 1876 to foster independent and original research, and now spends more than $3 billion annually on that effort. Well, no, it spends $2 billion because it's getting $1 billion from the U.S. government, which is me. So I spend $1 billion, they spend $2 billion. I want 33% back. More than any other U.S. school, according to data from the National Science Foundation, scientists at the school invented cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR. So they invented CPR.
Okay, cool.
Confirmed the authenticity of the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm pretty sure the people in the Middle East already confirmed the authenticity, but that's fine if you want to say you did that. Okay. Introduced the rubber glove to surgery. Okay. And landed the first spacecraft on an asteroid. 29 people with links to the institution have won Nobel Prizes. Okay, cool. Good for you. Stop spending my money on stupid shit.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to say here, and this is maybe my tone differs from you, is this: I'm all for development, research, and stuff like that when it comes to universities spending their money on that. I am not in favor of it when they use taxpayer money for very, very, in my mind, ludicrous ideas, projects, or even organizations abroad. It just doesn't make sense. If you want to use your own private spending, you have that right. Granted, your public spending can be, or what is it, your federal, what do you call it? Endowments?
Your national endowment.
Yeah, your national endowments can be, taken away from you at any time if you're going against the United States foreign policy or the goals that they have in mind, and that's different. But so long as you spend your own money on what do you want to use it, your money. Once you start using taxpayers' money on this stuff, it just, I can't support it. I can't.
Well, here's another project. Here's another project got halted. It was an effort to provide chlorine tablets in soapy water and messages about good hygiene to help prevent diarrhea deaths in Bangladesh. Again, I have no words. I learned when I was 4 years old, 3 years old, I don't know, however young I was, when I first started to wipe my own ass, to wash my hands.
Yeah.
With warm, soapy water. I don't know.
At the very least, soapy water. If you don't got warm water, fine. Soapy water.
Soapy water. Some sort of water. Clean your hands. Wash your hands. Again.
Bangladesh has, I think, the most, or one of the largest river systems in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do. And it's friggin' polluted as hell.
Yeah, that's my problem. It's like, we have bigger problems than washing hands. It's their government not taking care of the rivers that should be providing them with all the clean water they could imagine. But instead, no.
All right, ready for some fun?
Sure.
By the way, John Hopkins University, I'm sure you're a great university. You're going to have to actually fundraise now. You guys have to do some work.
Yeah.
So Trump says he will label violence against Tesla dealers as domestic terrorism. Apparently this is a thing.
So, hold on. What?
Yeah. Apparently people out there's a lot of lunatics out there that because of what Elon Musk is doing with Doge and because he sided with Donald Trump, that they are vandalizing and going after and hurting Tesla. I hadn't heard this, but going after Tesla dealers. And as a show of support for Elon and all the money he's lost while uncovering all this stuff and what he's going through, Trump bought himself a Tesla. There it is.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was our thumbnail today. Him getting out of his own Tesla. That's a nice ride, baby. But there you go. There's Elon and the Donald in front of the White House and Tesla. I don't know. I hadn't heard. Have you heard that Tesla dealerships are getting rocked or something like that?
I saw a reel talking about a few Tesla stores that were ransacked with the glass broken.
Okay.
This was also in mix with falling Tesla stock because of Elon Musk's involvement outside of the company, right? But I didn't know how widespread it was.
I don't think it is. I think it's just.
I've only seen like 2 personally, but I haven't done really any research into it. So
But even if let's say there's been 50 of these, right? There's been one in each state. Is it really domestic terrorism? Like, would you call that domestic? Wouldn't you just call that vandalism, breaking and entering? Wouldn't you just call it by what it is instead of domestic terrorism? Like, are they doing it? I mean, are they doing it? I guess
domestic terrorism is funny because I gets defined. The thing is it politically motivated? Because this is where motivation actually and intention comes into play. Because if it's not just if you're just vandalizing the place because you want to vandalize a place, or you're just a rowdy teenager, or you're looking to rob a place, that's different. Then it's not listed as domestic terrorism. It's listed as you mentioned. Now, if it's all politically motivated and it's being done in order to try to sway the opinion of Musk or these dealers from selling Teslas or even just kind of removing themselves from the location to try to force change, then it falls underneath the term of terrorism. In this case, a domestic terrorism definition. I know this because I took a terrorism and counterterrorism class with a UN associate. I will mention. I'm not going to say his name here. He's a great guy, great professor. His credentials: he's seen some genocide in Rwanda, and he's been involved in a lot of terrorist cases. So, pretty qualified class, if I must say.
Okay.
So that's my understanding. I'd have to look back in my notes to get a more precise definition. But in terms of domestic terrorism, that's why it would be listed as so.
I think for me it's a little bit of a stretch, but okay, right. I get why. But to me, it's a little bit of a stretch. I think it's a little.
No,
for me, it's a bridge too far. But again, because then you can label anything. Oh, it's politically motivated. There's a lot of stuff politically motivated.
No, political motivation has to be proven. So like intention, like motive, is like how you have to go to court and prove
well, I mean,
motive?
Then everybody who was in a George Floyd riot during the summer of violence there,
right?
They were all domestic terrorists.
You could argue that.
Sure. You could argue that, right? Yeah. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think they're idiots, and I think they're vandals, and I think they're criminals, and I think a lot of them that did anything bad against the buildings or anything like that should be locked up or held accountable. But they're not terrorists,
right? Which is why it's usually. But the thing is, domestic terrorism may come into play here because they're trying to force a form of the federal government change because Elon Musk is so intimately tied to it. You may argue he is now federal part of the federal government. With the George Floyd riots, that was more with police, and that is regulation stuff. So there's an argument there.
Yeah,
I do agree with you, and this is from my understanding of domestic terrorism. Once you make a law like this, it becomes very slippery slope in a lot of democracies and a lot of republics like the U.S., where precedents are set and have to be taken very seriously. So if you set this as a precedent, the next one's going to be using this as a basis for its legal argument. That could be a problem.
Yeah, that's where you start throwing out labels like this. But hey, then again, Elon Musk, the only immigrant that Democrats want to kick out of the country. Anyways, bump. More Trump news. We had some more. Yesterday we had a big long discussion on tariffs. Today, more tariffs. Trump walks back. So okay, Trump walks back. Latest tariff threat plays down. Recession talk. Okay, so if you didn't know, Canada, the province of Ontario, is going to charge a 25% surcharge on electricity to northern New York, Minnesota, and Michigan. Okay, in retaliation for the tariffs that are going on to Canadians from the U.S. Well, Trump was like, "Well, how dare you? Because electricity that threatens lives, which he's right. It is kind of, threatening to shut off the electricity means threatening to shut down hospitals and things like that. So, okay, so we're taking this a little step. So Trump's roller coaster day saw him threaten to double duties on Canadian steel and aluminum to 50% after Ontario announced plans to place a surcharge on electricity sent to the U.S., only to retreat back to plans for his previously announced 25% rate after the provincial government backed down. So there you go. This episode rattled markets worldwide. Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Markets have been taking some serious gut punches.
Steel, aluminum, those are big market movers right there. So we'll see what this does. Trump thinks it's going to boom. Some people think it's going to be a recession. We'll see. The biggest win is not the tariff. The big win is a lot of money. But the biggest win is if they move into the country and produce, Trump said. So he doesn't think it's going to be a recession. He thinks it's going to be a boom. There's him and Elon enjoying the Tesla out there. He's really, you know what though? He's really kind of he trolls people. Like this. This is the thing. Elon Musk is a troller, and I know that's not new news, but I'm just like the more and more I look at him, he's just sort of like you Bond villain right now. He's just like the best Bond villain right now. It's great. Love it. Um, so again, markets back and forth. Trump, there's going to be a tariff. There's not going to be a tariff.
I got some words of encouragement a little bit. He did what 10,000 new manufacturing jobs
Yeah,
were what calculated to have been produced last month or
last month.
Yeah, last month. So there might be some strategy to this that is working. Now my other concern is when it comes to the federal layoffs, how you're going to balance that off, because I think he also got rid of 10,000 federal jobs. So you kind of just stayed where you are. But
Yeah.
I guess one is you're cutting public spending and thus you're creating more money for the American people. And the other one is you're creating opportunities for everyday Americans. So it's kind of give and take, right? Give or take.
It is. It is. And what I'm surprised at is that they haven't put out a fact sheet on the jobs, the job numbers. Usually, if they like it, they put out a fact sheet on it. And I haven't seen one. They did. Oh, hey, you love soccer, right?
I love.
There's going to be a
football.
white football. The football. The football. We've
Or
established.
Calcio.
I forgot this a few days ago. We established a task force on the FIFA World Cup.
Of course we did.
Why
You didn't see
not?
this? He had like a whole key and whole presentation. Kind
That's
of neat
awesome.
looking. I don't know what the thing is. He had a key for it. I still don't know what it is for, but it's like no, you can look it up.
It's the key to my heart.
No, dude, you should look up the key. FIFA. Look up FIFA World Cup, Trump,
All right.
and Gianni Infantani. I don't know.
All right. Well, you just
Okay,
hold
World
on.
Cup, Oval
FIFA
Office.
World Cup Oval Office. Let's see here. Images.
Does it see the gold thing? I don't know what that is.
This thing?
He's got a key for it. I don't know what it is.
The hell is that?
Yeah, he was given a key for it and he opened it. I think he opened it, or he's supposed to open it when the World Cup starts. Exactly. Do you know what
It's a
this is?
lollipop. There's a lollipop inside. No. You know what? It is a coupon inside for Trump to go to McDonald's on the first day of FIFA World Cup because he would love that. And is that the ball? Is that the official ball?
Yes, that is the official ball. I think for the U.S. matches.
That's ugly.
I think. Wait, what colors does it have?
Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, I think that's for the United States. I think Mexico has its own cup ball, and then Canada has its own ball for matches.
Dude, this is who designed this crap?
The design, I don't mind it too much.
Yeah, okay. Anyways,
I think Mexico's going to do better.
than the U.S. Sure. All right. Hey, you want to kill some owls?
No, I like owls.
See these nice pictures of these owls?
Yeah,
Aren't they nice?
I like them.
Kill them.
Why?
Lawmakers call on Trump administration to nix plan to shoot 450,000 owls because of the cost. Not because they think it'd be mean to shoot 500,000 owls.
Wait, they're not like invasive?
A group of federal lawmakers has asked Interior Secretary Bergram to scrap a plan to kill thousands of owls in West Coast states intended to protect another type of owl.
Wait, we will kill owls
To protect
to
it.
save owls.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Yeah. No, we're going to interfere with nature. A bipartisan group of federal lawmakers is calling on the Trump administration to cancel a controversial plan to kill up to nearly 500,000 barred owls or bared owls to protect the vulnerable northern spotted owl. Oh boy, 500,000. And, oh, by the way, this strategy will only cost you $1.35 billion to implement. Okay. Could someone please get Elon Musk on this one? What do we need $1.35 billion to go shoot 500,000 owls?
Listen, I'm not saying we can go down to the gun store and get ourselves.
I'll do it for $1 million. You give me $1 million. You know what? Let me. I'll do it for $3 million just so I can cover my costs. I'll live in my van. I'll drive around with my shotguns and my ammo, and I'll just eat beans out of a can over a campfire. I'll be happy. My wife won't be happy. I'll shoot whatever you want me to shoot.
Who cares about the wife's happiness?
But the hell with your owls.
Yeah,
They look so cute.
I like owls. Well, the one on the left is endangered, from what I understand.
Yeah.
The one on the right is the one that they're gonna go after.
But the one on the right is cute. He's more cute.
the one on the left
So
is
cute
really
this one.
No, I mean keep them both.
Well, keep them both.
Listen, here's what I
I
say.
really don't want to shoot no owls. I love owls.
If you really want to,
I mean, without these guys, Harry Potter's never going to get to school. I mean, what are we going to do? Hogwarts is going to shut down. There'll be no mail system in Hogwarts.
Can I just say they chose the slowest fucking bird to deliver their mail? I love owls, but they are notoriously slow. Really could have used that letter 2 weeks ago.
Don't worry, they're going to race swap the owls for falcons in the new Harry Potter series.
That's right.
Just like they race swapped Snape.
Wow.
They did. Anyways.
Wow.
Too much for you?
Too much.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this seems stupid.
Yeah.
It just seems stupid.
I feel like
we're going to spend $1 billion just to kill something?
I feel like we could use our money better to actually help the other owl population. No, we don't gotta shoot a bunch of other owls in order to make one owl better.
Yeah.
Why don't we just help that owl regrow its? What would you call it when you try to
repopulate?
Repopulate.
Yeah,
repopulate. So it's competitive.
And these things never work. Listen, whenever mankind tries to interfere with nature and try to shape it the way it thinks it needs to be shaped, or thinks it needs to nudge it in a certain direction, first of all, if there's something that mankind is stupid at and totally incompetent at doing, it's figuring out nature. All right? Whenever we try to interfere with something, we're going to build this dam so we'll avert this water to save this fish. We end up killing a bunch of other species of fish. Let nature do what nature's going to do. It'll work out. I mean, okay, you know what? Here's a good fact. Let's look up this fact. I wish I had this off the top of my head. I don't, but okay. This is a good thing. How many species, can't spell, have gone extinct
It's a very sad number.
in the 20th century?
It's a very, very sad number.
Let's see here. Okay, well, roughly 543 vertebrate species went extinct since 1900, which with many more likely to have gone unseen or unregistered because we haven't discovered them yet, because we haven't been everywhere yet.
But our disease works.
That's just vertebrate. That's not counting flowers. It's
Insects.
not counting trees, insects. It's not counting, amoebas and little plankton and little whatever, sea creatures. It's just things go extinct all the time, right?
I mean,
But
it's nice to conserve them.
we
I'm
don't-
all for conservation.
I'm all for conservation, but we don't need to help nature along. It'll help itself. It really will figure out. It'll help itself.
Okay. I mean, yes, you're right on that, but I'm not against conservation efforts of trying to maintain local wildlife.
Sure, but you don't wipe out one species.
Exactly. That's what I'm
to
saying.
save
I
it.
was going to say that I don't agree with that mindset. That is a terrible mindset. You don't wipe out a good chunk of a species because you want to save another species.
Yeah,
Not how that works.
it's just
Unless they're invasive, right? Like pythons in the Everglades, those things are invasive. You get rid of them.
well, yeah. I mean, if someone does something stupid and introduces like there was
That's
a
what I
story
mean.
I was reading the other day. It was somebody smuggled like 20 lizards and little baby lizards in a sock into England. Now they're everywhere. There's thousands of them. They can't friggin' do anything with them.
Cincinnati just happened. Somebody smuggled in 10 lizards into Cincinnati.
Oh, Jesus
Now
Christ.
there's like thousands and they don't know what to do.
Well, it's Cincinnati.
The-
They deserve the
yeah.
lizards for that whole Skyline chili bullshit.
Yes.
Fucking Skyline
that's
chili.
fair.
Fuck Cincinnati and the Skyline chili.
You really hate that chili.
Oh my God, I got so sick after eating that chili. It's not chili. It's friggin' it's
The laxative.
oh my God,
liquid
it's
laxative.
it's the worst sloppy Joe you can imagine from the worst cafeteria and the worst school in America. That's what it is. Put on top of a pile of spaghetti. It's disgusting.
Damn.
It's gross.
Brutal.
But anyways, I thought the owl story was fun. What are you watching over there? You got chicks
No.
dancing. Oh, it's a commercial.
It's commercial.
It's a commercial?
I'm watching your
I look
stream.
over, and all I see is chicks dancing in jeans and tight jeans
You
and
want me
jumping
to
up and
skip
down.
the ads, Gringo?
I don't want you to skip the ad. I'm just saying. I'm not. Hey, you're a red-blooded American boy. I don't care. Red-blooded Mexican boy. I don't care. Whatever you want to watch.
American.
I'm just saying. Am I not entertaining enough that you look
I mean,
at
I'm both.
tits
yeah.
and ass on TV over there? But it's okay.
I mean, listen, I'm always going to choose the woman over you. I'm sorry. I'm joking.
I don't blame you. Please do.
Wow.
Hopefully, you know.
Hopefully.
Put me in the ground and go find yourself a good girl.
You know, you just turned 50 yesterday. You're
Yeah, I
talking
did,
like
I
you're
did.
going tomorrow.
It's all downhill from here, baby.
It's all
People ask me,
downhill,
What's it
Toby.
like turning 50? It's all downhill from here.
It's all
You know what I
downhill.
did learn yesterday as part of a 50-year-old YouTuber? You know what I learned yesterday?
What are you doing?
I learned that people love negativity more. They love reacting to and watching negativity more than they do anything positive on the internet.
Gringo, I've told you this for a good year now.
I really didn't want to believe it because, I'm a Christian. I didn't want to believe it because I actually wanted to believe people are good people. Most people are good people. I can make a video. You and I can make a video and praise something and say, this is the awesome thing and this is great and you're going to love it and this is why it's great and blah, blah, blah. And it'll do okay.
Right.
It'll get some views. You and I make a video of like just totally trashing something, and you're going to get people who not only like what you're saying because they like hearing the negativity and want to go, yeah, the echo chamber. You're going to get the people who disagree with you, and those people who disagree with you, the people who hate you hate your opinion the most, are the ones that are going to watch you the most. It's crazy. It's insane. I call it the Howard Stern effect. And when Howard Stern first came out on radio,
right,
they had this ratings thing like the average Howard Stern listener listens for like an hour and a half straight. And I said, okay. And then they said then they said, well, that's not what's amazing. They said, what's amazing is the average Howard Stern hater listens for 2.5 hours. I was like, all right.
Because it's so entertaining to hate. Like to have something to put your emotion towards, especially anger, which you don't have, which you don't have many places to put that.
Well, I just beat on you. That's where I put my anger.
Wow.
He covers up the black eyes. Anyways,
wow.
Sorry. Anyways.
Wow. I want to make this very clear. My father does not hurt me in any form.
Oh, emotionally. I hurt you emotionally.
I do it.
I withhold my love.
I emotionally hurt you.
I withhold my love.
My jokes hurt you more than anything you've done.
No. Oh God.
I want to make that clear in case YouTube sees that and thinks, abuse.
Yeah, that's what I learned as a 50-year-old YouTuber yesterday. It was interesting. Just kind of dawned on me. But with that, it's been another fun Tuesday. We're going to get out of here. We're going to go have some fun. We're going to go check out what your mother's doing, have something to eat, play some video games.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, I'm going to also edit a bit. So
with that, thank you for everybody for listening, joining us, and checking in. From south of the border, I'm still your reluctant gringo. Salut.
Adios.
A huevo. Bye-bye.